All right, I'm going anyway. I don't even care. All right, welcome to Tidbit Tuesday. This is Tidbit Tuesday, your tidbit of a midweek break. We just only are going to tackle a topic or two. I am one of your hosts, Aaron, and with me, as always, is Kyle, Chilson, and
Hello.
Rhino.
Greetings.
So, this is the first episode of Tidbit Tuesday, and basically the idea behind it is just sort of a midweek post that's a lot shorter, just kind of a short form podcast, a mini cast as I've dubbed it, and we're just gonna talk about one thing, just real quick, 20-30 minutes, nothing crazy, just to sort of satisfy your insatiable gorge.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, and so
whatever gets your gorge off, man.
Yeah. So this first one, we're gonna talk about the Last Jedi, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. In case you didn't realize,
there will be spoilers.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be
Yeah,
incredibly.
We should just start off with spoilers too, because we're going balls deep straight away, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna be dissecting
about it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair warning that everyone who hasn't seen the film, do not listen at all.
Mhm.
Come back after you listen.
Yeah, and get your life in order if you haven't seen it already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Christ.
Love it or hate it. If you haven't seen this, then you live under a rock or something.
So I think we'll just start off with kind of giving our general opinions of the movie, and then we'll really dive on in. Yeah?
Perfect. Awesome.
Yep, sounds great to me.
So, Chilson, you want to start us off?
I would love to. Okay, so I really enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot. I had high expectations going into it. This was going to be my movie that brought back Luke Skywalker, one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I was very curious to see what they did with him. I liked everything that was done with him. I thought the performances were great by mostly everybody. There were definitely certain things in the movie that I didn't like, which we'll talk about in a bit. It has problems. It certainly has problems, but what it does right, I think, does well enough that I will forgive those, and it doesn't really take away from my entire enjoyment from the movie overall. So I loved it. I thought it was really good. And yeah, that's how I feel about it. I give it, it's like a 8 out of 10 for me, I would say.
Well, Kyle, what'd you think of it?
All right, so just background. This is the movie that Chilson makes fun of me for going to alone, because I wanted to go see it.
I think that was a little bit of me too when you told me.
Yeah.
You literally sent the ticket in the group chat, didn't you? And I was like,
Are you alone?
Yeah. You're alone. And you're like, yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, but when you and me were giving up lots of shit. Yeah, because you deserved it.
I think I started roasting people who go to the movies alone before we even realized, right?
You might Ryan was just I don't understand how people do it. And go see a movie by yourself, and Kyle was like, I went and saw it by myself.
Oh, I felt so bad.
I loved the movie. I mean, I love Star Wars, and me and Chilson rewatched a couple of the Star Wars movies a couple weeks ago, and my original criticism of The Last Jedi was that it was too comical, it was too funny, there was too many jokes in it. But going back and watching the newest trilogy, if that made sense, episodes 1, 2, and 3.
The prequels?
Yeah, the prequels. They got kind of the same witty jokes. I mean, there's more. I think there's more in the new movie. But, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I was head over heels in love with it. I think Daisy Ridley's awesome.
Yes, agreed.
I like Poe Dameron a lot. that's just me. I think he's super cool. I love his Starfighter and whatever.
You're gonna have to fight your favorite character over him, man.
I'm not even
I
gonna
ship
talk
it.
about that.
I ship it.
I'm not even gonna
Can we talk about that? I want to talk
Rhino,
about
what
it.
do you
We'll
think?
talk about
Rhino,
it.
what do you think?
I mean, so I'm just to preface this. I'm a big Star Wars fan, like a big Star Wars nerd. I'm not like one of the nerds who's
Yes.
read like all the like the what do they call it? Like the
EU.
The lore, or whatever.
yeah, like the extended
lore, the
universe stuff,
extended
right?
universe,
Yeah. I haven't read any of the extended
I
universe
think you
novels
and
or
me
anything like
are
that.
kind of in the same book when it comes to
Yeah.
like how big of Star Wars fans you and me are.
But my base level knowledge of Star Wars is I would like to say quite vast. I love all the games. I love all the movies, and I love being a nerd about it.
Same.
And when I first saw the film, I actually really enjoyed it. I remember like going out of the cinema and going, "Wow, that was great! And the whole time I was watching it, had a smile on my face, and I really did have a good time while I was there. But then the more I thought about the film, once I left the cinema, the more issues that I've had with it since then. And I think that they did a lot wrong. They did a lot right, but they did more wrong than they did right. I still really enjoyed the film, really liked it. That's basically it.
Yeah,
Alright.
I guess we're sort of shifting from love it to it was kind of bad to now my opinion it was a freaking garbage fire. To preface it, I saw it. I know some of the like normal ones are like, oh, you're jumping on the hay wagon or something, or your expectations were too high. I saw it on day one before anyone started hating on it, and I actually didn't even see the trailer by choice.
Smart choice.
So my expectations were I was going into it flat as I could. I wasn't excited. I actually didn't even plan to see it opening night. The day before, I kind of got a random invite from my brother-in-law to see it, and I saw it in the best conditions possible, the IMAX theaters in Portland. So like it, I don't know, just going into it, there doesn't seem to be any flaws you can point out that way from my experience. But I wanted it to be good, but as it was just going along, it's just like, man, this is good scene followed by 20 minutes of garbage, and here comes another good scene, and that already that's wrapping up. You're wrapping up that plot line. All right. Oh, you're wrapping up that plot line too. Okay. What isn't going to be wrapped up in this movie? Like, oh, okay. I just saw so many issues with it. I wanted to like it, but I just couldn't. Leaving the theater, my brother-in-law and his friends were just like going nuts, and like I remember just kind of being like, "Oh, did you like it?" Like, yeah. Like there's no way I could come out as the hater. But I thought it was a mar on an otherwise pretty strong series.
Damn.
So, Aaron, you had no expectations going into it. Like, what were you expecting going into it?
Ignore that, whatever that was.
What was that?
Sorry for breaking the immersion.
Well,
there.
what I was expecting, well, I mean, I was expecting questions that I had to, in some form, be answered. I was hoping to learn more about sort of this,
Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke, and sort of this like post-Empire world. I'm not particularly all that upset about not learning anything about Snoke, but I definitely wasn't expecting it to be so comedically filled and inappropriately comedically filmed.
It's the Disney effect, man.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I really enjoyed that first scene with Poe talking to General Hawks or whatever his name
I hated
is.
that. I hated that scene. I don't know.
I had mixed feelings.
It didn't make sense. It needed to just not be General Hux. I mean, he's this like Nazi bad guy, and then like they made him like the comedic relief.
Yeah, he kind of seemed like a bit of a pansy, didn't he?
He
I
was
don't know.
more of a badass of Awakens.
Yeah.
And then this one, he kind of is just like a little lapdog.
And it
That was
took
kinda his
away
comic
away
relief
from
a
the
bit.
point where he like when he begins to draw a blaster to kill Kylo Ren at the end, that I thought that would have carried so much more weight if they hadn't marred, like, if they didn't take away his badass nature from like the previous movie. He was kind of this like lapdog now, like you were just saying, like,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like, oh no, he's not gonna shoot him, you know, and
Yeah.
it would have been,
I mean, I think
scary.
inside.
Can you imagine the plot twist if Hux just killed Kylo right fucking there?
Oh, I'd be
And,
rioting.
funny.
I'd be
episode-
rioting.
Episode 9 would have been about taking down Hux.
Yeah, Supreme Leader Hux.
Imagine that.
Hux is
Supreme
really
Leader
bad.
Hux, yeah.
I'd be beyond pissed at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Forget about Darth Jar Jar. It's all about Darth Hux now.
He was Jar
Imagine.
Jar.
Yeah.
I thought Jar Jar was Snoke, dude. I thought that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Well, we'll never
Oh, we
know.
will never know now.
Have you guys theories about Snoke being Grand Moff Tarkin?
No,
Yeah,
I haven't seen
All
that
the
one.
theories are wrong, dude. None of the theories are right. It's all shit.
Yeah, but if you look at like pictures of Grand Moff Tarkin,
It doesn't
you know,
matter.
Alright, are we
It
actually
doesn't
going into
matter.
this? Oh,
No, we're not going
Alright.
into
No,
it because
no.
the theories are
Everyone
retarded.
Look it up. Everyone, look it up.
The theories
I'm
are.
not gonna look it up.
Tarkin
They're
was on the
fine.
Death Star that blew up in space. He's fucking dead. Not all the CGI
No.
can bring him back, man.
What if he
He's
was
fucking
more
dead.
sensitive, dude, and he just flew through space like Leia
Yeah.
did? Magically saved
Yeah.
himself.
That it was
True.
that
Did you-
moment.
Did you guys enjoy that? Did
I
you guys
hated
enjoy
it.
that?
That was the
No,
moment I was
no.
like, oh, this is a shitstorm.
No, I did.
It was
not
a
enjoy
light
that
shit
moment.
drizzle, but then
The
that
thing that-
that was a
Oh my
shitstorm.
God. I mean,
It
the
made me
problem is
mad.
that like we all know Leia's force sensitive. We all
Yes.
understand that.
Mhm.
But did they have to have this big momentous occasion where she literally does like a godlike, like she suddenly has some godlike ability out of
Mhm.
nowhere where she hasn't shown any
Yeah.
ability before that? Do you know what I mean? It was just so
It was
so out of whack with
It
her
was a
character
little
and what she's
cringy.
actually done.
It was a little cringy.
The problem was it was shot extremely badly. Like it didn't even look
Yeah.
good. If they made
Oh,
it
it
look
looked
good, then it
weird.
might have. It looked dude. I thought it was a meme. I thought the shooting star
Yeah.
song was
Yeah,
gonna start playing, and it was
exactly.
literally gonna be a meme.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. I was literally waiting for it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. It's gonna be, but no, they were being serious.
The
Oh,
weird
yeah.
thing was,
See-
is I thought it was kind
Go
of I don't know, like right before she opened her stupid eyeballs, I was like, hey, this is actually not like all that bad of a goodbye. Like she kind of looked angelic a little bit with like
No,
the
I-
frostiness. I didn't have a
I
huge
pers-
issue with that, but
I
then-
personally thought that was good. That would have been terrible send off. Actually, I thought that was really shitty when I thought she was actually dead. I was just like, really? That's really how they did it? Random torpedo by that nameless goon floating off into space like the first
Yeah.
10 minutes of the movie.
I think they
That's-
needed
that's
to wrap around.
disrespectful.
I think they need to like wrap around to like a funeral or something, but I don't think it was necessarily like a. I mean, the timing could have been later. That the timing of the whole movie was just atrocious.
See, if Kylo
The
had done it,
pacing
I
was
would have
bad.
been more okay with it, but he didn't. He
Yeah.
pussied out.
Bitched out.
What do you
And-
mean? You would have enjoyed that if he killed his own brother?
I'm saying that it would have made
Better.
more sense to the story and made more of an impact.
No,
If
see, I
that's the way
think
that
I
they
think
would've
there's still
killed
a
her.
fight. I think Kylo's character is still in between light and dark at the moment, and you saw that when he encountered
Yeah,
Han
no.
in Force Awakens. So he was
I
never
totally
going to do it.
agree. This is
It would have been out of
this is-
character, I think, for him to fire the missile.
This is strictly hypothetical for if they were going to kill off her character that way. I
Mhm.
think that just having a nameless random
Oh,
TIE
okay.
fighter
All
just
right. I know
shoot
what
a
you're saying.
missile
But
at
they,
her.
yeah, but they weren't going to kill him off, or kill her off. Sorry. So.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But they've
I was
already
just like,
announced
that's
it's
kind of lame.
Coming back.
Right. Well,
They've
she
announced they're not using CGI for her, so what are they gonna do?
No. That's the
No,
problem that they're in now. Episode
Yeah.
9 is going to
Like,
be.
oh,
Who knows?
she died. Sorry. Oops.
I
They're
mean,
going to
they
have to
could,
do some off-screen death, I assume, right?
Hey,
Or
Or-
something like that.
or they could use I don't know. They could find like a voice actor, I suppose, that sounds enough alike her.
Or maybe they'll
honestly-
put her into hiding like they did with Luke. Ruined his character.
All right.
I mean,
Let's talk. Let's talk. We'll talk about Luke in a moment. I just wanted to pitch in on the Leia thing.
Yeah.
I thought the scene was bad. It was bad. More so for me though. I have zero problem with her using the Force. I just think it was more disappointment for me that they chose to do it in such a poor way. I think her Force like reveal could have been like really cool or something, like
Mhm.
to show that she actually has like some powers like Luke taught or something like in the years before. But I thought it was just handled so poorly and it was a wasted opportunity.
The movie just wants you to like the movie just this thing where they want you to accept things, but then like they also don't show you they don't even show you an implication of a journey. They just show you the destination where like you get no foresight that Leia has any form of force beyond sensitivity, and then like
Well,
and then
fair.
yeah,
God
I
mode.
get that, but it's like it's not. It wouldn't be unrealistic for her to use a Skywalker. She
No,
she
no,
could
but,
do.
like, it's one
I
thing to
get
use the
what-
Force, dude. It's one thing to float through space after you've literally.
I get
just
that.
been
No, I
bombed.
get that.
Like,
I think God mode is ridiculous, but I think if she had like done a Force push or something, I wouldn't have really had a problem with it.
No, me neither.
It-
No, dude, I have no problem with her using the Force or being powerful or anything like that. It's the way that they just suddenly gave her this godlike power. It was insane.
It wasn't
Yeah,
was
raw
God
enough.
mode is. Yeah, God mode is a little ridiculous.
That
but
whole
if she
movie-
had come in,
The Force just went from 0 to 100 in that movie. Like
yeah.
there's like in the games and stuff you see like this other side of the Force, but in the movies alone, like all this stuff that's happening like is not. It's not even been like close to seen. Snoke Force connecting Rey and Kylo from
Yeah.
like across the galaxy. That's like
I
we
thought that
haven't
was
seen.
cool.
Oh, it was awesome that those we'll get in that later, but like there was no like step up to that. It went from like Luke
Zero to
sensing,
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Zero to
yeah,
100,
but is
sorry.
there really,
father.
has there really been a step up for anything in the Force though? Without when
Luke
you
trained.
first saw- Yeah, I
Went
mean,
through training. Anakin went through the academy. So did Obi-Wan. Like everyone
I-
that you see in previous. And the thing, they did the same thing with Rey in Force Awakens, which I really disliked. She was suddenly so powerful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
yeah, no, I get that. But like in like Episode 6, where you get the Emperor, and then he all of a sudden Force lightning something. Why doesn't anybody get offended about that? You know?
No,
Why,
but see,
why
I
is
think it's-
this
I mean-
nameless like Emperor guy get to come in, use a new Force power, and everyone shits on him? But when the Emperor does it, it's totally fine.
this
I think
Force
this
power is like
story's a-
next level though.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
Because we've had Leia in 3 films
Yeah.
previously, and she hasn't
Yeah.
shown any ability.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I get
4
that.
films previously.
I have
should
no
say.
issue with the actual Force power. It just seems like the like level of what the Force can do according to the movies was like at a certain point, and then in this movie it just like skyrocketed to like what
I don't know.
what people are able to do.
I don't know. I don't
it's like
necessarily
the Force
agree,
just got
but
a huge buff in this movie. We just saw stuff that had never happened before, and it's not like little things like Force lightning. It's like projecting yourself all the way across the galaxy to another.
Yeah.
I just wish
Yeah.
there was a step in
Yeah.
between.
Yes.
Yeah.
Needed a little
Yeah.
more explanation.
I mean, at least with Palpatine, right? He was literally Darth Vader's leader. Darth Vader was this absolute badass. Like Palpatine
Yeah.
had to have some level of badassery
Yeah.
to him, and so it made sense that he could force lightning. It made sense that he was all powerful, even more
Right.
powerful than Vader himself.
True.
Like it made sense for his character.
Yeah.
For Leia's character, they didn't have that same development. You know what I mean? And her place in the galaxy, I know, like as a general and whatnot, I got that. I got her leadership role. I understood that part of her character. But then for
Yeah.
them to suddenly gift her this was a step too far for me.
Mhm.
I understand that. Yeah, I get that. All right. Shit. Holy shit. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. We spent about 18 minutes on Leia.
Yeah.
Dude, I told you, dude. I told you this topic is insane.
Shut the
It's
fuck
too
up.
much.
So
All right. We're moving on to Luke. We're gonna move on to
Ah.
Luke.
I wanted to talk about those porgs, man.
we're not talking about the porgs.
Kyle, what did you think
Um,
of what they did with Luke's character? Tell us.
Dude, I was all over that. I thought it was super cool. I liked it. I liked how they told the story of Kylo Ren, how they kind of like did both sides of Luke's side and then Kylo's side. I thought that was cool.
I thought the flashbacks were fantastic.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really well done. I was like flipping out over that whole scene when Luke force transported himself over there, force projected, I guess.
Mhm.
But I mean, the real question is like that milking scene.
It ruined. It ruined Luke in that movie.
It was a little weird. It didn't ruin Luke, but it was.
A little bit.
It was weird.
It was weird. It didn't ruin Luke.
Okay, it
You're a
didn't
big
ruin
pansy
Luke.
bitch.
No, they
Other
were
things
going.
ruined Luke.
They were
like,
going
even
for this.
Star Wars has had that blue milk forever, and now there's green milk. Like what? Like it's always been blue milk.
Yeah. Anyway, I see. I know. I'm gonna probably be a minority in this. I really liked what they did with Luke's character. I loved really pretty much everything. I loved every single scene with him. I think Mark Hamill is a god at acting,
Absolutely amazing.
and I loved everything from pretty much beginning until end. I could believe all of it. I enjoyed it, but I know you guys have problems with it.
The lightsaber behind him like it was nothing.
What?
Did you like when he threw the lightsaber behind him like it was nothing? Because that threw me for a loop. I'm like, what?
See,
Did you really enjoy that? Ba-boom! Punched a hole in his
Exactly.
boat.
No, dude, I
Okay.
absolutely hated
He's-
what they did with his character.
I agree.
Absolutely hated.
What?
I just think Luke has been this like absolute like this pike in the force for the 3 films that he's been in. I think the justification for him running away to some random ass planet and living in solitude was unjustified. I think that the way that he reacts to Han's death and the rebellion being on the brink of extinction is terrible as well. I think that it went against everything that they had portrayed his character as previously, and I just didn't like it at all.
I agree. I also thought his morals shifted in the movie. He was very adamant about like Rey, the Jedi need to die, and then she gravitates to the dark side, and that scares him naturally because of with Kylo Ren and everything. And then he trains her to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Literally.
These are the
It
3
is,
rules of being a Jedi. It's like that's
Yeah.
literally nothing that's happened in this movie like makes you like think that this is a good idea. They just needed Rey to get her 3 days of training so she could be God
Yep.
mode Mark II.
Literally. That was their way of just like short. Like, I think that even the relationship between Rey and Luke, I didn't really enjoy that much either. I think his reaction to her being force sensitive, and having his lightsaber, like he didn't even question it. It was all just like whatever. Like he didn't give 2
Right.
fucks.
Yeah,
Like, and to me, it was like
Yeah,
this
that's
random ass woman from across the galaxy has come to your planet where no one knows where you are with your fucking lightsaber, and you react like that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me that character has gone that far into exile, like excluded himself that far from that universe, from the people that he loves, like Han and Leia, and all these other characters, and he just like, I don't know, to disassociate himself with all of that so easily over one incident with his goddamn nephew, that was not, like, to me it was like unjustified. It's like,
Well, see, like, I don't know. I feel like he was in, like, he felt if he excluded himself from their lives, he would be kind of making himself better. Kind of the whole thing, just like, you're better off without me. Because I get how it can kind of seem like it was really that big of a mistake, but it kind of was. He took their child, was training him to be a Jedi, to be good. It was essentially his fault. He went like full dark side, and
but he's not even full dark side though. He was never
But-
full dark side.
at the time,
he
Yeah,
fucked up
but
the whole Jedi Academy.
he
Like, no, I get
at
that,
the
but
time,
so you wouldn't
he,
try and convince him to bring him back like he did with his own father, like he did with Vader? The whole time he had belief that Vader was going to come back and,
Yeah.
and he was like turning, do you know? But with his nephew, who he's taught, he's like he just gives up on him straight away. Like really, like
didn't
really?
follow that.
I don't know. I don't buy it at all.
I don't know. Luke is complicated. But yeah,
I honestly, I hate
get
what
the
they did with this character.
I get the criticism, but I still love. I like what he.
Oh,
What
I
is
loved
this
Luke's
character?
character up until now, literally up
Yeah.
until this film. It kind of ruined it for me, honestly. It's like, I don't know, for someone who had so much belief in bringing Vader back, like, it just. And he even says that to the Emperor. Like, he says it to fucking Palpatine's face, and he says, no, like, my father's good, do you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I still sense the good within you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then but with Kylo, who he doubts for 1 second, he has to suddenly take off and leave for the next 10, 15 years. Like, come on, man. I don't know.
I'm sure him and his friends won't cause too much trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, power back.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. He just abandoned everyone he loves to die to Snoke and to the First Order. Like, he literally he knows that he is a key to helping the rebellion, and yet he just abandons them. That's to me is against everything that his character stands for in the previous films.
It almost showed that like Luke as a character was immature. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you fail once, you're
Well, then that does stick with his character.
like, I don't know. It bothered me.
What did you guys think of the whole Canto Bite scenes? Because I
They're shit.
hated that. Massive
was
issue with
ass.
that.
That
I think.
That's the
It was
casino
ass.
place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Casino Planet. Yeah.
it
Just
the movie
think-
was on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna make a quick jab at Rose being pretty much the worst Star Wars character ever created.
The problem with this
I beg
movie is they put a time constraint on everything. Like, they made the plot about like a ticking time bomb of we got to get away. So then they're like, all right, we have 48 hours until we're out of fuel and Snoke's ship can blow us up. Let's go romp on this planet real quick. So they had to force that. They need to just remove the entire time constraint thing. It needed to not be so overbearing. Like, it could be as simple as, hey, they're combing this sector and they're looking for our base. We have no idea how much time we have until Snoke finds our base. There you go.
Yeah.
Now they're
The
not
pacing was
literally.
wrong.
Yeah, the pacing was terrible in the movie.
Pacing was very bad. No.
And so then
I
they,
mean,
this Canobite thing was rushed and terrible, and it threw arguably the worst two characters into the like Finn. I am so annoyed with Finn. Was fine in the last movie. He acted as sort of this like kind of sub character who played a part in the plot, but he was kind of Han Solo-y, where it's like he doesn't need to be in every scene, but he's there to carry it along. And he's like at the forefront, where it's like him and this random chick,
100%.
and they're doing this stuff. It needed to be like Poe needed to be there. They needed a reason to be there longer.
Well,
where it didn't
the
feel
problem
rushed.
is, right, it comes down to this. Poe going up to Commander Holdo and saying to her, "What's your plan?" Holdo, like,
Yeah, Holdo's
keeping
a
that
bitch.
keeping that information to herself, right? The only reason that they had that in the film was so that Poe went to Finn and gave Finn something to do. Because
Yup.
if Finn didn't have something to do in the film, he would have been sitting in the goddamn ship for 2 days straight, not doing anything. They had to give Finn's character something to do, so they had Holdo withhold this information from Poe, which led to this whole Canto Bite scene, which ends up being superfluous and unnecessary. The entire sequence doesn't even matter. What they did to go and get this master hacker to get through to the First Order's ship, to get through there, and to do all this, it didn't make any sense, and like, oh god, it was just an unnecessary like a plot expansion that they just didn't have to. I don't know, they just didn't have to do it.
Good.
I think
They didn't have to do it. It was bad.
What the problem is that every character in this movie is played by someone respected. Who played Jango Fett?
Some
That
random
one guy.
Kiwi.
I have no freaking clue, but I can tell you who played shiny metal freaking whatever. Brianna
Phasma?
Toth. Yeah, Phasma. Right? So like, oh crap, everyone loves this chick and she needs to be in the movie. All right, well now we need to have a whole thing. That I wanted to kill myself when like they were just
Oh, God.
one-lining at each other.
That
Take
was
this,
terrible.
metalhead, I think was the literal line.
Oh,
It's just they have too many people that people love playing parts, so they feel like they need to like
Give them screen time.
yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
it's a bad idea. But
It's just,
as much as I hate the movie, the only redeeming portion in that whole film, there's a couple of them. Anything with Kylo Ren, literally, and I'm not just saying that because I have a man crush on Kylo Ren.
You have a huge man crush.
He was just genuinely like the only thing.
His character was much better this movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I agree. 100%.
And any scene he was in felt important, and it was important.
Yep.
Him talking to Rey, honestly, my favorite
Yeah.
Star Wars moment. Surprisingly, worst Star Wars film, best Star Wars moment. This conversation between two people who aren't truly raised as a Jedi or Sith.
Yeah, the scenes with Kylo and Rey, all of them were very good.
Mhm.
They were very good. I also love when like Kylo's telling his side of the story of what happened with like
Yeah.
Luke and everything. You know, it
Humanized him.
flashes back and like Luke's got the angry eyes. He looks all
He's got the
pissed off.
Anakin eyes. He's got those Anakin eyes.
Yeah,
dude.
he looks so badass, but you know, Luke. I could see Luke doing that. You know, I could
just
kind of
reach
see
that
Luke
point.
Luke doing that because Luke has always kind of had a little bit of a pull to the dark side a little bit. I think it's just kind of inherent
Yeah.
at this point. But
I think it's a Skywalker
and that-
curse.
yeah, and essentially that is what got Kylo to turn anyways, because Luke had one little dark side thought and almost acted on it, and he was just like, nah, you gotta shut that shit down real quick, but it wasn't quick enough.
Hmm.
And happened. Yeah, the Kylo Ray scenes were great. The whole light speed scene was amazing.
That was great.
Oh
Some of
my
the best
gosh.
cinematography
guys
ever.
hear about that? Like, some movie theaters posted like there is supposed to be no sound. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah.
That made it bad.
Was that not obvious? I thought
I
that
know.
was obvious.
I always thought it was just like what moron, like just like, oh, the sound cut off for like
Oh,
5 seconds
I
of the
thought that was
movie.
just an obvious thing. Like it went black and white, and this 1 second. Like that was
Yeah.
meant to
Yeah.
be, right? That's
I
part
agree.
of how
Oh,
they
yeah.
filmed it.
I,
Like,
I
what?
never I never had a single thought where I was just like, oh, is there something wrong with the sound? Wrong
Yeah.
with the sound?
No, me neither.
Pretty
No, I
quickly,
thought
like, a
that
low
scene was
rumble
freaking
comes in.
awesome.
I want my money back.
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't anyone think to do that to the Death Star or anything?
Oh yeah, I've said it, but I said it long before this movie. Warp drive weaponry.
happens?
Why is that not a thing?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
that'd be
seems,
cool.
it seems pretty clear that I need to be 12 parsecs away and just launch this beyond light speed hunk of metal through your Death Star.
hmm Yeah, we're gonna have to have more Star Wars talk on the
Yeah.
actual podcast episode because there's certainly more that I want to talk about.
Dude, there's so much I have to say.
Yeah,
But I think
just Star Wars in general, like what you were talking about when you like saw the movie, you first initially really liked it, Rhino, and then you like started thinking about it and you're kind of not liking it.
Hmm.
Like your exact description matches how I feel about Rogue One. Is how I feel
Oh,
about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'd like to talk about that at some point, but
We should just
Yeah.
have a Star Wars based episode. To be
I think
perfectly honest.
so.
Might have.
And hey, if you guys
Absolutely.
want to check out a full Star Wars episode, I'm sure that'll come in the future. This is
Very
sort of a short version of our longer podcast that posts on Fridays. The Weekly Whatever. You can find us on YouTube, Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, Anchor, Stitcher. And hey, I think we got ourselves a bit of a Tidbit Tuesday, eh?
yeah, absolutely,
Hey.
absolutely. And if any of you want to come hop and chat or something, we have a Discord set up.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
do.
can come in. drop your topics that you want us to talk about in the actual podcast and everything, or just come hang out and talk with us, and we would love to have you guys. So that link will be left in the description for you guys to be able to join that.
Well,
Yup,
dope.
yup.
See you guys around, eh?
All right,
said it
see you
twice
later,
now.
guys.
Catch you later.
See ya.